Okay. So good evening, everybody. Please feel comfortable to ask questions. This is not a lecture. We're going to learn together. Okay. So in the Motzei Shabbat, we're going to have Lag BaOmer. We all know that Lag BaOmer is a massive day. Very, very special day. What do we know about it? Anybody know? What do we know about Lag BaOmer? Anybody?
Lag BaOmer?
Hi. What does it have to do with us? Is there a take-home message? Is it something that's relevant to me? The Magifa ended. Many things happened. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai passed away then. All the students of Rabbi Akiva, they were dying, 24,000. They all stopped in the Lag. But today, how is it relevant to us? Is it something that's today? It's something that happened then, but today we just commemorate it? Or is it something that's happening now? What do you think? Anybody else? What else happened with BaOmer? Anything else? Any suggestions? Okay.
There's any other dates in history that happened in Lag BaOmer?
There are things that happened, yeah. The man started to fall. Very good. On Lag BaOmer. The 5 students that became the new students of Rabbi Akiva all got ordained on Lag BaOmer. There's something special about Lag BaOmer that I really want to tap into, that it should be a take-home message for every one of us. Because it's not just something that happened then. This Motzei Shabbat, there's something special going on as part of the whole Sefirah, the whole Omer concept. Today really I want to try to focus on, more than anything else, what's in it for me? Not because of selfishness, but because in Torah we have nothing that's just history. We don't commemorate history. We don't make, Memorial Day weekend to fall on a Monday because we want an extended long weekend. But it's something that's relevant to the time. And if the time passes, it expired. Because it's this time, this specific time. The word Zeman comes from the word Zimun. Time comes from the word preparedness. Zimun, it's prepared for that to happen in that day. That means if we were to have glasses that can see time, right? If our vision was able to detect time, we would see different types of time. There are times of happy time, sad times, Sha'ab B'Av, the time that more dinim, judgment happens. And there are some things that just happen because those times, apropos, it's special for good things to happen. And these days, during Sefirat HaOmer, the time of Sefirat HaOmer, and specifically the day of Lag BaOmer, is a very, very special day. So really I would like to just to bring out one of the concepts which seems to be very, very strange, and brought down the Shulchan Aruch. You should know the day of Purim, whatever day Purim falls on, you should know Lag BaOmer falls on.
Sunday.
Always. Yeah, always. Now, and think about it, there are many other things also. Whatever day Pesach falls on, Sha'ab B'Av falls on. Now, obviously, we're not just giving you dates and wait how to remember the calendar by memory. Right? That's not the intent. The intent is to send a message that when two things are happening on the same day, they have relevancy. There's a connection between the two. And can anybody think, what does Purim have to do with Lag BaOmer? Anybody come up with any sort? It seemed like very foreign concepts. That Purim, a happy day, is connected to Lag BaOmer. What's the connection?
We have a man of a shop.
Haman Rasha.
I don't know, I'm just saying,
Good.
a man of a shop.
Okay.
Just in my
No,
head.
because it's good. That's good. You're on the right track. We'll see in a second what. But there is something that Haman said that connects Purim to Lag BaOmer. And Mother Shem will try to understand. So again, there's some sort of connection between Purim and Lag BaOmer. Now, of course, nobody gets dressed up on Lag BaOmer, right? So obviously that can't be it. But there has to be something that's relevant to us. And whenever we learn, by the way, in class, it's important that we're not just learning the topic. It's healthy to learn something in depth. It's very important. Because there are two types of learning. Sometimes you have a learning that inspires you. Wow, great story. And you get charged and you take it in, which is phenomenal. Then there's some times when you learn something and the comprehension, now that I understand it, that sticks with you forever. And whenever you come across that again, it's not a temporary inspiration, but whenever you understand something in depth, you absorb it in a way that sticks with you forever. So inshallah B'at Hashem, I would like to go a little bit deeper to try to understand what is Sefirat HaOmer in general, specifically about Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. What does he personify? Now again, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is beyond our comprehension. You have to realize that Borei Olam revealed the Torah through two massive people, Moshe Rabbeinu and Rabbi Akiva. There are two Rabbeinus. There are two masters that Am Yisrael has. Two teachers. Two biggest teachers. One is Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what we call him, Moshe Rabbeinu. He's our teacher because he taught us Torah Shebechtav. The written law all comes from Moshe Rabbeinu. But there was another oral law that although Moshe Rabbeinu was taught, but the master of that oral law was not necessarily Moshe Rabbeinu. The master for that was Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, the Gemara says, that Moshe Rabbeinu had a difficulty understanding. One of the, if anybody saw a Sefer Torah, many letters have like the little crowns on them. They're called tagim. Tagim, they have a little crowns on them. Some of them have 3 crowns, some of them have 1 crown, and there's a reason for everything, of course, why certain letters have 3, certain letters have 1. But Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem, what are these crowns on the letters for? Now, of course, you have to realize it wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't asking out of ignorance. He obviously had something much deeper in mind. And he said, let me show you. And he went into a time capsule machine, Nani. He pressed fast forward. He took him to the generation of Rabbi Akiva. And there he had 24,000 students sitting in this huge Bet Midrash. It must have been massive, 24,000 students. It's huge. And there it says that Moshe Rabbeinu sat all the way in the back. I think I once shared with you that the system was, and I know when I was in Argentina, that's a system that the more, the teacher at my school, and I think in every class, that according to your interaction in the class, that's where you sat in the classroom. The smarter you were, the more advanced you were in the seating. And if somebody asks a good question, Yani, okay, you in the back, come sit closer up. And according to the chairs, the smarter you were, the closer you were to the mored. Not like today, they keep control makers, nearby to make sure to handle them, right? And the ones it used to be that the ones they were all into learning. The closest ones were the most hashuv. Moshe Rabbeinu said, it says, he sat all the way in the back. So if you want to understand what kind of people and what kind of students were sitting in front of Rabbi Akiva, huge. And Rabbi Akiva is going ahead and teaching, these tagim, these crowns and letters. Moshe Rabbeinu was baffled. He says, you have a person like Rabbi Akiva and you're giving the Torah through me? Again, this is not me talking, Moshe Rabbeinu talking. Right? V'lo ki Moshe od. Right? And he says that about Rabbi Akiva. You know what kind of compliment that is? That's Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was the master of Torah Shebaal Peh. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was the student of Rabbi Akiva. And Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai said about himself, I'm only a fraction to what my Rebbe Rabbi Akiva was. That's who we're talking about. It's Bal is in Aramaic, Ben is in Hebrew. Same thing. But no, the Rabbi Akiva was one of the later Tanaim.
No, not Rabbi Akiva.
Oh, sorry. Bar Yochai, the little story about Bar Yochai, since you're bringing him up. Bar Yochai himself, Bar means the son of Yochai. Yochai was married to a woman named, anybody? Sarah.
She also couldn't bring a kid.
She could not have children. Sarah could not have children. And she prayed, she cried her eyes out to get a child. And there's another tidbit that we have to extract from the story. And the times were passing, and she was afraid that Yochai was going to divorce her since he has an obligation to do children. She was afraid. And one Rosh Hashanah, Yochai goes to sleep, and in his dreams, he sees a man going around, walking in a forest. Some forests, some trees had fruits, some of them had no fruits. He was going around with a pitcher of water and poured water on those trees that had no fruits. In the moment he poured the water on those trees, all of a sudden the trees blossomed and had fruits, and he went on and on and on. And there he's sleeping, watching the whole thing. He was, in his dream, he was laying against one of the trees that were also barren. As he gets closer to the tree that he's laying, this person who, in his dream, he sees him going into his pocket and pulling out a little jug. And out of that little jug, he pours the water, whatever he had the content in there, on the tree that he was laying on. And all of a sudden, it grew beautiful, beautiful flowers, and eventually fruits, and he woke up. He wasn't sure what this meant. Now, Rabbi Akiva, if you remember, Rabbi Akiva, 40 years old, till 40 he knew nothing. The next 40 years he learned, and he lived 120, like Moshe Rabbeinu. Rabbi Akiva lived with Moshe Rabbeinu. And he said, you know what, he told his wife this dream that he had. He said, we must ask the Gadol Ador, the leader, let's ask Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yochai was a very, very powerful man also in the government. Very powerful. They went to Rabbi Akiva. He suggested to his wife what he thinks the dream meant, that inshallah, B'at Hashem, you're going to have a child. But there's one piece that I don't understand. Why to every tree did he have to just take the regular jug that he had? He went to many, many trees, and he used this jug to have children. When it came to the tree that he was laying on, he went specifically into his pocket to pull it out. And Rabbi Akiva said, you're 100% accurate about your dream. 100% accurate. However, he asked him, but why did he take the little jug out of his pocket? He said, because the little jug in his pocket were the tears of your wife. And because of that, you have a very special child. And that was Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. And you may ask, how can one tell? Which is going to be part of today's class. But I just want to show you, after today's class, inshallah, we'll be able to see. Mrs. Gorcey sent me a class that somebody gave. I'm not sure the name. And I'm sorry, what? Somebody from Israel. So he set up a famous story, which again, this is recent. There was somebody went to Baba Meir and asked him, there's somebody very, very wealthy that lives in Mexico, I believe, that his child was kidnapped. And they want to know where he is. And the authorities are trying to look all over. They didn't know where he is. And they're ready to pay whatever it takes to make sure to get back the child. They went to Baba Meir and he told them, I need a piece of paper and I need a pen. And he sits there and he prays. His eyes are closed. He's concentrating. And he's writing down the address where the child is in London, what's the name of what address he's in, what floor he's on, and they called the authorities and plucked him out exactly where he was. This rabbi asked, Rabbi, were you ever in London? Never in London. I never saw what it looks like. He knew exactly where he was. I just want to know that. I just want to know that. Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Hashem should give him health inshallah, for 120 years. Here's a man who doing the Scud missiles when Saddam Hussein was shooting Scud missiles to Israel, Tel Aviv, right? And everybody was suspected it may have chemical, right? Everybody wearing masks because they have no clue what to do. No clue what to do. Now it's dangerous if it was a regular conventional, they should not be wearing masks. They don't know what to do. Rav Chaim told the people in Bnei Brak, in the yeshiva, you don't have to wear a mask because no bombs are going to fall, no missiles are going to fall in Bnei Brak. And you have to remember, Bnei Brak is close to Tel Aviv, and they saw the missiles flying right above them.
There was one missile, we went there on Shabbat. It was just on the border, Ramat Gan and Bnei Brak. Mamash,
on the border,
street, we saw the huge hole next to Bnei Brak.
There is a lot of Talmidei Chachamim. No one
He
will
says
get
Torah,
Especially
this is a
Torah.
city of Torah. How does someone say that? How does someone say that?
Tzaddikim see from the beginning of the world to the end.
100%, but I just want to show you, I wanted to show you what happens when somebody acquires Torah. I just won't get there yet.
Whoever you put your faith in, that's the capacity.
That's also 100% true, but I wanted to show you even to the extent,
The greatness
how does
of
somebody know to do that? That's a massive thing to tell people. You know what kind of responsibility to tell thousands of people, you need to put your mask. You have to worry. How does one carry that on the shoulder unless you really know what you're talking about? And this is something, he's not a fool. He's a person, I told you the story, I believe, that I was on the phone, this funny thing, because somebody who works for me, right after I finished saying over the story, he says, I know the person that it happened to was my neighbor.
Wow.
I'm telling you over a story that there was a boy, not married, that Chazit shouldn't have happened to anybody. But he was in a car accident and he killed 2 people, older couple. Killed them. And he was devastated. Devastated. And he couldn't live with himself. Months went by and he could not, how can I have done that? Why is Hashem sending me such a tragedy through me? And he sent a letter to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Sent the letter. And he said the whole letter, what happened, what should I do, what kapara. He sends back, anybody knows Rav Chaim, he's a man of very few words, right? Rochel Vatzlacha, that's what he says, right? He writes over there, Nazi Yimach Shemo. That's the reply that he said. 3 words. Nazi Yimach Shemo. What does that mean? He had no clue what that meant. I'm talking about a tragedy that happens, you're talking about the Nazis, doesn't make any sense. A few months later, this estate went for sale. And it was in Lakewood. And people went to try to buy it. They found in the basement an entire section of Nazi propaganda. He was a Nazi. He was trying to tell him, it's okay, Ani, it's okay, Rohi. They were Nazis. Yimach Shema. Now, how does somebody know that? He's living at Bnei Brak. How does somebody know that somebody's being kidnapped? He's in London, right? Because when somebody is going to be in this caliber that we're going to talk about momentarily, they could do that. We're not in the caliber. We're not in the caliber. But there are Talmidei Chachamim, even today, that are very, very, very holy and very kadosh. Talmidei Chachamim that are really, really kadosh. Really, really tough. But how does one get there? And this is what I want to extract, B'ezras Hashem, inshallah, today, in today's class. In order for us to have a good comprehension and to be able to understand what this is all about, we have to begin to explain what the Korban Omer is. And we're not going to go into the Korbanot, the sacrifices, but I want to just talk about one detail. Yeah. Yeah.
What was the greatest hope of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai to have that he learned him, that he discovered more? I mean, before Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I mean, he interpreted the Kabbalah that nobody could understand.
Yes. I'll explain how B'ezras Hashem.
But not Rabbi Akiva, which he was also no less greater.
Rabbi Akiva is the one that gave him the funnel, the one that was able to have permission to open it was Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. He was the one that was permitted. And the day that he died, he wrote parts of the Zohar that he revealed everything. But the one that was given permission, even Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai wasn't given full permission till the day he passed away. There's a section of the Zohar, it's called Idira Rabbah, Idira Zuta. Idira Zuta was written on Lag BaOmer, the day right before he passed away. All the tzaddikim came in. The Zohar, this is all written, the Zohar of Shimon is saying. The Idira Rabbah means the sitting with a lot of people, it was 10 people. Idira Zuta, many of them already passed away. I believe there was still 7. And all the tzaddikim came from Gan Eden to hear Rabbi Shimon reveal this most hidden secrets of the Torah. When he finished, his neshama went up with all these other tzaddikim.
What year it was?
This is roughly 2,000 years ago. I don't know exactly when, but it was after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. The Romans were in charge. Yeah, I know exactly what year was. But in order for us to understand this clear, I want to go into what the Korban Omer was. The Korban Omer was a Korban that was born on the second day of Pesach. The second day of Pesach, okay? And though in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, by the way, you're familiar with Hadash and Yashan, right? It's not a modern thing. It's not a black hat thing that just developed recently. In the Torah, the Torah says you're not allowed to eat any new wheat unless you bring a Korban Omer. In the time of the Beit HaMikdash, any new crops that was had that year, you're not allowed to eat from it until they bring this Korban. This Korban permits the new crop of the year. It was brought from animal food. It was brought from barley. In those days, barley was animal food. No humans consumed barley. And that was called the Korban Omer. It was brought on the second day of Pesach. And on Shavuot, they brought for the first time a Korban made out of flour. And that flour was actually not going to bring chametz. Ki chol seor v'chol devash lo taktiru. You're not going to bring any chametz into the Beit HaMikdash all year round, except for Shavuot. Now, we don't have, the only other Korban that's brought from animal food is a woman who wasn't loyal to her husband. And just like she did an action which was an animalistic action, she brings a Korban of an animal food. That's what Gemara says. But why do we bring on Korban Pesach, the second day of Pesach, we bring animal food? Doesn't make sense. And not only that, the format, how it was brought, when you give food to an animal, you don't bother sifting it. Whatever comes in there, they're going to eat it, right? In the Beit HaMikdash, it was sifted 13 times. Like Yani, they took flour of animal food, people don't eat it, and they ground it and they sifted it like as if you treated it as if it was human food. So what's the concept? Why is this Korban Omer? And we count the Omer, Al Safirat HaOmer, Hayom, today is everything according to the Omer. It's also very strange. And the Omer, by the way, what is Omer? You know what the word Omer means? Right? It's a measurement. והעומר, עשירית האפה היא. The Omer was a measurement of 1/10 of an ephah. Which, how much is that? That's the shiur we make on challah. You know, on Shabbat, and if you want to make challah for Shabbat, right? You make a shiur of challah. That measurement is the Omer. So you want how much is the Omer? The amount you make to be hayav in challah, to remove the piece of challah and make a beracha. That's the shiur that everybody took. And this Omer concept, so two strange things. Number one, we don't bring animal food, we're humans. Number two, why are you sifting it if it's animal food? If it's animal food, treat it as animal food. Why are you sifting it? And why you have measurements? Animals don't have, we humans, we ration, we have portions. They have no portions. They eat, right? Safila ketura, the Gemara says, stuff it, like as if it's an ox. One talks about how to teach children. But the measurement of Omer is a human concept. Measurement of food, you're on a diet, okay, how much is a portion? How much can I eat? Right? Or I want to know healthy, how much health, right? Everything is how much protein, how much vegetables, how much I have to eat of everything. It's portion. That's a human concept. So you're treating animal food with human concepts. That also doesn't make sense. You hear the question? Clear? Why are we bringing korban of animalistic food, and why are you treating it as if it's a human food? And this is what I want to really focus on. The whole concept of counting the Omer is to be able to take a person and elevate him. Not just, we all created like, let me just back up 1 second. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. So Hashem created the world. We, as humans, were also taken, totzeh haaretz nefesh haya. Let the ground sprout out humans and animals. So if you want to know, the flesh, the blood, the bones, we share with animals. But we're not animals. In other words, we, as humans, can behave. If you look out in the street, how people act the way they do, they don't act we live in a very degenerated world. A world that has zero self-respect. If you look at anything, even 50 years ago, 80 years ago, how people walked around with a suit and a jacket and a tie. People have more dignity. Women had more dignity to themselves. Today, everything is hefker, right? The pants comes to, you see the abid walking around with the pants, at 3/4 down. What is that? What is this? There's no self-respect as a human. We're becoming more degenerated. Things are being exposed. All these things are not human. We are now going backwards. We're not being humans, we're acting more like animals. The concept of Omer is to elevate a person from his animalistic character traits to make him into a supernatural human. To elevate a person to make sure that we are not a regular person, but we are a respected person. We are a person. We are people that are kadosh. We are tahor. We can become spiritual people. We can become godly people. Thereby giving us information, access to information that the human eye can't see. Because the more spiritual you are, the more things you'll be able to touch upon. The more things that you'll be able to see. The more your life is a different life. When just now I was supposed to go to Israel. I had the yard site on Wednesday. I never, ever, ever fly on Tuesday. I always go at least a day or two before. I wasn't sure if I was going to go this year, but I ended up going. And I booked a flight on Tuesday to get there at 4 or 5 hours, still that I'd be able to go for the yard tent. One of the weirdest things happened. I had my passport, my wife's passport, and it was 24 hours beforehand. Now today you can't even get a seat unless you check in 24 hours beforehand.
Yeah.
So usually used to be just when you buy a ticket, you just reserve a seat. You can't do that anymore unless you pay a fee. And 24 hours beforehand, they allow you to check in, and you're allowed to choose a seat. So Monday, I get this email. You should know it's time for you to check in. Good, I click check in. Now I'm already there, since I fly more than my wife, and my information is ready in American Airlines. That's who I flew with. Really ended up flying with British Airways. They, World One, they interact with each other. But they asked me now for my wife's information. Now I'm an organized type of guy. I had everything already in my, my carry-on. The zipper, I have my passport, I have my priority pass, I have everything there. My shekels are there, everything is there, right? Everything I'm ready to go. So they asked me to check in, and I put in my wife's passport information. Pulled it out, put it in. Good. Went to the airport the next day, we checked in, everything is good. When I get to the airport, I'm telling you these details because it's important for us to know. We get there, I remember I booked a flight with American Airlines. So when I went, of course I reserved this spot where I parked my car off-site, of course cheaper, and they take you with a shuttle bus. I get to the terminal, so where are you flying? American Airlines. That's where I booked the flight with. I'm there in American Airlines. You know what? I remember I told my wife, let me just double check. I'm off already the shuttle. I'm by the terminal. And I told my wife, let me just double check. Because I remember seeing something that one of the flights are going to be with British Airways. But I thought this one, I saw the icon. British Airways has their icon. American Airlines has their icon. By this flight, I saw American Airlines. The next one, I happened to see British Airways. Let me just make sure. I don't want to go into this terminal, waste my time here, and then I have to go to another one. I still have another hour and a half, an hour 45 minutes. So I open up I'm out of the shuttle, and I open up my passport, and I see the American Airline icon, but the flight number, instead of saying AA, it says BA. And American Airlines is British Airways. So I'm out of there, so the guy already left. Okay, we went back into the terminal. We took the air train to the next terminal over. We get the British Airways. I get there, Baruch Hashem, no problem. I pull out my passport. My wife's passport, and I give it to them. And the lady looks at it, and she's laughing. Where'd you get this from? What's the problem? She shows me the passport is my son's passport. My son's passport. My passport and my son's passport. So, how did that happen? How did that happen? And now I'm organized. I have everything, Mina Shamayim. I try to call. Maybe somebody could bring home if I'm my wife's passport home. Somehow or another, when they asked me to put in the information, I put it down. I must have taken it down. That's all they could think of. Even though it was in the folder, I don't even know how it could happen. But it happened. Obviously, that's what happened. So we missed the flight. We couldn't go back, and we pushed it off for the next day. Now, you have to realize, if any one of these things didn't go perfect, if anything, I had plenty of time. But it was the AA, BA, get off the wrong terminal, get there, somebody could join.
You didn't have that flight.
Shamayim, I didn't have to be on that flight. Turned out to be that the next day, I think I know what happened, the next day I was involved with the Shalom Bayit issue, and it's been for a while, and the wife calls me, crying, and I couldn't hear what she's saying. She was just non-stop crying on the phone, non-stop crying, and I couldn't hear what she's saying. She says, okay, Robert, calm down, tell me what's going on. I'm leaving, we're going to get divorced. I would have been on the plane. It's all Mina Shamayim. We have to start thinking that, I may not see clear which room, if he's in London, or what room number he is in, but I have to start thinking, when we have to work in our life, that everything's min hashamayim. Everything. There's not one thing that's not min hashamayim. We have to understand that every single thing that happens to us is 100% hand custom made for you. Custom made for you. And the more we live a life understanding that Hashem's hand is in my life, and from A to Z, who you marry, your midot, your child, whatever happens to you, there's a reason. Even though, Mrs. Gorcey and I share the same type, let's call it a tragedy, but I want to ask you, how much Torah came since the day of Jherin? How much did you do because of this thing? How much? It's amazing.
It's like she's doing it, not me.
Okay, that's fine. But obviously, when a Kadosh Baruch Hu sends something, there is a reason why it's happening. We have no clue why it happens, how it happens, who it happens to. But whatever Olam chooses these things to happen to these people, it chooses the situations that I'm in to be able to develop my character trait. Because every one of us sitting in this room, yes, we may feel ourselves, we feel like humans, we may feel like the guy next door, we may feel like everybody else, and we don't want to consider ourselves, very hashu. But I took my wife out on when I was there, I went to Ashdod. And somebody told me to go there on a boat. I went for a boat ride. And the guy's talking with Haki, became buddies with the sailor. So, wow, I wish there was this Bajan doing this, just being out of the sea all day, driving, a speedboat. It's fun. It's fun. Right? It's fun. So they said, yeah, you probably, you go fishing, you bring home, you bring tuna. What do you like fish? I mean, some people love fish. I remember one time, I'm walking up Jherin, and here a Hasidic guy, oh, mamish Gan Eden, for the fish store. To me, I don't eat fish, I can't. So I asked him, maybe the guy likes fish, he's a shayat, he's a sailor, maybe he eats fish. He says, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan. I don't feel that it's proper for me to take somebody's life, yani, for me to eat. And I wasn't going to go ahead and explain to him, but you don't understand. The biggest favor you can do to that dumb fish is to make him human, to elevate him. And Hashem created it that way, that from the ground, from the dirt, comes a plant, elevated from a non-physical item, a non-live item into a plant. The animal comes and eats grass. It just elevated it from a plant to a lively animal. And when humans consume fish, chicken, meat, what you are doing is you are elevating it to the next level to be a human. This whole infrastructure is for us to elevate humanity, to elevate the world from a physical world into a spiritual world. That's what it's all about. And to understand that, the first step is to understand there's a Borei Olam that manages my life 100%. And the Beracha in the morning we say, Hamechin mitzadeh gaber. Hashem, you prepare my footsteps. Meaning, when you wake up in the morning, you're acknowledging that whatever happens to me today, every step that I take, any turn that I make, it's from you. And that's where I was supposed to be. And if I missed the flight, it wasn't because I was a temple enough to beat myself up. That's exactly what Hashem wanted me to be. Now, of course, there was a silver lining. All my kids came. They were supposed to have the reading the next day. So this is why we missed the flight. We're never together. How about if we all come tonight instead, and we'll have the reading in my house? And that's what we did. We had the reading that night. My wife was the whole time, should we go, should we not go? Should we be with the kids, not be with the kids? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Rochi, you can plan whatever you want. This is what you're going to do. This is where you're going to be. Because the moment we live a life that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is guiding me you become a different person. First, you become a much more calm person. You know, with other people, you know, my daughter is 24, I don't know what to do. She's not going out, nobody's calling her. Okay, Rohi, calm down. You want a girl, your daughter is a phenomenal girl, everything will be fine. Within 6 months, she could not have found a better boy. And now everybody's happy, you know, everything is great. That's hindsight. But we nervous creatures. You know, one time I was driving, my first daughter, Miriam, got married to somebody from Detroit. And it was a scary thing to go to Detroit, you know, but I'm driving for the engagement, and we're driving overnight, right? Driving. Am I going the right way? No GPS. I didn't have one. Right? It definitely wasn't built to the car.
It's like 6 hours, right?
It's 8 hours.
8 hours, no?
It's the middle of the night, and it was scary. I bought a car. I had more kids, so I turned it into a more passenger seat. I removed one of the seats in the bucket seats into a bench seat, and the guy made a hole in the gas tank. And I'm taking this van now, long distance, and I'm petrified and I'm driving, right? So we figured out exactly where the hole is, and I kept on filling up to make sure that I had no problem. But I'm traveling, I'm not sure going the right direction. So every once in a while we pull over, it's Detroit, whatever highway I have to go to, yeah, you're okay. Then it hit me. I was driving up the hill, I wasn't sure going the right way, I haven't seen the signs in a long time. We pulled over to a guy, am I in the right, you know, which highway are we on? Everything was fine. I get over the hill, the big spine there with that highway that I was expected to be on. And it told me a tremendous mussar. That story, tremendous mussar. I was always in the right track. I just didn't know it. I just didn't see it. We're always in the right track. Every one of us in the right track. Because that's in that track, Hashem wants you to be there. That's exactly where Hashem wants you to be. So the beginning of elevating oneself is to understand who I am is what Hashem wants me to be. Where I'm living is where Hashem wants me to be. My family is what Hashem wants me to be. I got to utilize my surroundings, my tools, my characteristics, and now take that and elevate it to the next step. And that's the whole concept of Korban Omer. Omer means you're counting from animal food. But the animal food has to be sifted. The animal food has to have a measurement. Make the human element of sizes, of portion, of sifting, of refinery, take that animalistic food and elevate it to make it human consumption. If you keep on doing this day by day, ultimately on Shavuot, you're going to bring human food. You're going to bring flour. That's the end result. That's the end goal. To take the Omer, these days that we are in, and to perfect it. That's why every single day, when men count, you're always counting one midah. Hesed sheba hesed. Hesed sheba hesed means being a giver. Giving, the ultimate giving. Gevurah sheba hesed means a hesed that requires to say no. The child wants to run in the street, right? Brooklyn guys, Ocean Parkway, right? Busy, right? Route 35, busy, and your 2-year-old wants to run into the street. Yeah, Rochai, sure. I'm about Chesed. I always say yeah, 100%. Go. You're gonna kill the kid. No, what are you, crazy? Smack him. Make sure he doesn't go into the street. Grab him. Make sure he doesn't go into the street. Because sometimes saying no is the biggest Chesed. So you're perfecting, you're modifying Chesed. You don't go tell somebody, you know what? I know you need money here. Here's $100. That's not Chesed. You do Chesed shebe'emet. You should know the money comes from you. Perfect the Chesed that sometimes you gotta say no, sometimes you gotta conceal it. If Shimon ben Yochai passed away with this system, the first week is called Chesed. The second week you perfect the midot of Gevurah. The Chesed, the day of the Shimon ben Yochai is the 5th week. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod. These are the 5. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai passed away on Hod Shebahod, on the 5th day of the 5th week. What does that mean? What does Hod mean? Hod, the word Hod comes from 2 words. Hod means Hoda'ah, to be modeh, to admit, to give oneself over, to be submissive, and sometimes in a relationship between a husband and wife, you deal with all sorts of people. Most of the time, the man is the more dominant, the woman is submissive to her husband. Sometimes I'm dealing with a shalom bayit issue, where the husband wears the pants by far, and she makes mahshi out of her husband, and she's the dominating factor, and he's the hodah, he's a tzaddik, he's kid of the tzaddik, but that's how it is. So hoda'ah means you become submissive. Hoda'ah also means hod, splendor, glory. That's what the word hoda'ah. What does that mean? Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai passed away on the 5th week, the 5th day of the 5th week, which means, again, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, and Hod. Number 5 is always Hod, right? The 5th week, the 5th day. After 4 weeks, you count day number 1, day number 2, in the 5th week. When you reach number 5, in the 5th week is like Ba'omer, which is called, you're perfecting Hod Shebahod. The first day of the 5th week, you're perfecting Chesed Shebahod. The second day you perfect Gevurah Shebahod. The third day you're perfecting Tiferet Shebahod. The 4th day, Netzach Shebahod. On the 5th day is Hod Shebahod. What does that mean? We're not learning Kabbalah here, but the concept is the epitome of Hoda'ah is Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. What does that mean? There was nobody that gave himself up 1,000% like Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. In the Me'ara, he went for 13 years. He went ahead and he said, Hashem, I'm yours. Wait, what are you going to eat? What are you going to drink? That's your problem. No, Hashem. It's not his problem. I'm giving myself 100%. For those 12 years, he was in the Me'ara. Hashem made a miracle for him. A stream of water opened up. A carob tree grew right over there. For 12 years, there was sustained. But what does that mean? But Pinchas ben Yair, his father-in-law, after 13 years, he was with him. 12 years, he was, it used to be, Pinchas ben Yair is a huge person. But Pinchas ben Yair was a giant. It says Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, whenever he had a question, the Pinchas ben Yair answered him, I forgot how many times, I forgot it was 10 times or 30 times, and that's how many answers he had to Rabbi Shimon's question. After the 12 years, it said Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair used to ask Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai gave him 10 to 30 answers, I forget the exact number. And it says when they took him to a bathhouse, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai being inside, in the earth, he wanted to take care of his clothing. He used to get undressed and go inside the dirt. Imagine, you have 2 heads coming out of the ground. The whole entire body is submerged in earth. And that's how they learn, Rabbi Shimon. And during this time, they learned, they had Eliyahu HaNavi coming to them, they had Moshe Rabbeinu coming to them. The Zohar was formulated then, during these years. When he came out, he had his body was all cut up, and he took his son, Pinchas ben Yair, took his son, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, to the bathhouse. He saw him with his body completely chopped up from being on the dirt for so long. He says, "Oik, I'm in pain to see you in such a way." He says, "You're fortunate to see me in this state. Because if I didn't go through what I went through, I would never have become who I am. I would have never become who I was." Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was Zocheh. You asked me before. What did he do? He was a Kadosh B'Tahor. Separated himself from the entire humanity. Dedicated himself to elevate himself. Not just Barminan the way we see today, animals. Take the most Kadosh person that's out there. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was even beyond that. Didn't eat a meal, didn't sleep normal, didn't do anything. He gave his body 0. Hod shebahod, hoda'ah shebahod. Hashem, I'm yours. You take care of me. What food, what am I going to eat? I don't know, but you're going to take care of me. I know you're going to take care of me. What are you going to drink? I don't know, but I know you're going to take care of me. And he did. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But Rabbi Shimon was so dedicated. What Olam says, this is who you are. I'm going to give you my most inner secrets. The most inner secrets in the Torah, I'm going to reveal everything to you. Which means, again, no coincidences here, but that day, the day that he came out of the Me'ara, that day, he came out, that was like Ba'omer. When Am Yisrael, they left Egypt, they had enough food to last them for a couple of days, for a month, Gemara says. When did they start getting, according to some Mefarshim, when did they start getting the man? On Lag Ba'omer. Why? Because the day of Lag Ba'omer, the time of Lag Ba'omer, is the time of Hod Shebahod. Is a time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you respond properly, Hashem will give you the most inner secrets. Our job, what we have to do, is to understand that during this whole time of Sefirat HaOmer, during this time, this is the time that is given to perfect Midot. Torah is about to be given, and now is the countdown to the receiving of the Torah. Torah cannot be given to people who act like animals. Torah cannot be given to people who don't have proper midot. Derech Eretz kadma la Torah. If you have no Derech Eretz, Torah is poison. Poison. You're going to misuse it. When a person has dedicated time for 49 days to perfect himself from every angle possible. Let me explain you what that means. We have a few minutes? Let me explain you what this means. Every item that was created is always a 3D item. 3D item means there is a front, there's a back, there's a right side and a left side, and up and down. That's 6 dimensions, right? For every 3D, it's really 6. Up and down, front, back, right and left. There's a 7th thing that identifies the item. Is that correct? So sometimes you have a piece of plastic or a piece of wood. That this same piece of wood sometimes could be a ständer, sometimes could be I don't know, could be a jewelry box, right? So it's the defining the 7th element, even though they both are rectangle, but the defining object, what it became, is the 7th element of it. Is this clear? You understand what this means? In planet Earth, everything has 7. 6 are the components, 7 is what the essence is. The same thing for the weekdays. There are 6 days in creation, right? The 7th, Shabbat, identifies what your week should look like. The 7th is always the Kadosh. There are 7 weeks, there are 7 days in a week, there are 7 years in Shemitah, and above that, after that comes Yovel. But always number 7 is always the Kadosh element of the 6 days. Always. In counting Sefirat HaOmer, you count 7 times 7. This concept of timing by itself, and whenever you time something by itself, really what you're doing is you're expanding as much as possible that element. I have 2, I multiply it by 2, that's the most you could do. 4. If I have 7, what's the most expansion that it could have? 7 times 7, which is 49. Right? Sefirat HaOmer has 7 midot, that's all there are, 7. There are 7 notes in the prism, there are 7 notes in music. Everything is 7. And this creation, 7. When you times 7 by 7, it means you're going with the utmost you can do. Sefirat HaOmer is the expansion of becoming a person who can become from a human to become a Superman, to become a spiritual essence in all 7 directions, in all 7 ways, which is an unbelievable thing. And I wish really we can say that we really did do that on Sefirat HaOmer. But once a person does that, the Gemara says, the Chachamim tells, the Zohar says, that if anybody who does this job properly during these 7 weeks, you have nothing to worry about when it comes to Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. Nothing. We think Rosh Hashanah and Kippur is much more severe than now. But the truth is, now is much more crucial. Now is the development, like a woman who's pregnant. She became pregnant. She's taking care of it. The smaller the baby is, the more careful you have to be. Because as the baby gets healthier and bigger, things that even when he comes out, may not hurt him or may hurt him a little bit. That same thing when the baby's teeny, but it's going to have tremendous devastating effects. But this concept of doing these weeks is a time that we're creating ourselves. We're making who we are. What Shimon ben Yochai did on Lag BaOmer is Hod Shebahod, reaching that ultimate midah, that's who he was, giving of himself 1,000%. Hashem, you take care of me. You take care of me 100%. Self-perfection. That's what Sefirat HaOmer is all about. So let's recap. The first step, what are we doing? What does that have to do with me? What does Lag BaOmer have to do with me? What does the Sefirat HaOmer have to do with me? The answer is everything. Even though none of you count the Omer, it's not I'm have to count the Omer. This is a foreign way to cutting Sefirat HaOmer when you don't count. But you have to know this is what's going on. What's going on during these days is days that every single person perfects himself. It's supposed to make himself better. For what? Ultimately to receive the Torah. But we're starting out bringing an Omer. We're counting to an Omer, which is animal food. But yet we refine it. We sift it. We have portions. We treat it as if it's a human consumable. Because that's what it's supposed to be. We're supposed to take ourselves. This is the message that we have to really take home. We have to very hashiv. We have vegans. We don't eat vegetables only. Because intentionally Hashem says, I want you to eat anything and everything. Because whatever you consume, you're going to perfect. Whatever you're going to become out of what you ate, you made a proper beracha, you internalized it into your body. Now that was elevated to become a human. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want just a human. I want a godly human. I want somebody who's spiritual. I want somebody who's perfected. I want somebody who cares. Because Derech Eretz Kadma Torah. Derech Eretz comes first. And the main point of the Torah is Ben Adam Lehavero. How we treat everybody. How we treat our spouse. How we treat our children. How we treat our neighbor. Because that's how you become and practice that kind of a person. People think, you got to do mitzvot to become, God. That's not what it is. Of course you have to do that. But the main exercises that we do on a daily basis, on a routine basis, is always bin adam l'havero.
That's the refining.
That's the refining.
You refine
Exactly.
the weed, you have to refine yourself.
Hesed between men and
You
men.
have to
Not just between
elevate
men.
yourself from being, because a man, there is people who behave like they not. You just open the
Correct.
glass with it.
Correct.
So it's really to perfect ourselves.
And the most difficult and the most testing time is when somebody does not act to you that. Am I going to stoop to that level, or I'm just going to be, I'm going to be.
You're being like him.
Right. I'm going to be believing I don't hear that. I understand. I'm not going to say it. I understand how I'm going to control myself. These are things that require self-control and self-sacrifice and closing the eyes and sometimes being hurt from it. And many times your spouse may say something that's hurtful, and how you handle it. You're going to go back, be quiet. Your friend may say something. You're going to be smart about it, or just going to let out my frustration, my emotional pain that I have. All these issues that we have are all ben adam l'havera, between man and man. And the key is to be able to say, I'm not going there. I'm not going to stoop there. I'm not going to do that. And have self-respect. Yeah, I'm going to go fishing. I'm not going to be a vegan. No, that's what the guy told me. I don't eat fish. I'm a vegan. But I didn't have, the whole ride is stayed now. It was 15 minutes into the ride, and instead giving a Midrasha, another rabbi gave me, a whole mussar shmooze what to eat. But really, it's not the right thinking. I don't know, probably. I don't know.
לא יכול להיות שהוא מרוקאי.
היא לא יכולה
לא
להגיד,
מרוקאי.
לא.
No, Moroccan cannot. Moroccans eat fish. It's part of the.
It's not when they return it to the hospital. Donated for
אין כזה דבר.
science.
לא עושה.
I'll take home peace. What we have to take home is to have a lot of kavod for ourselves. Self-respect. Understanding that Hashem put me here because He wants me. I didn't have to be born a Yehudi. I could have been born a Mexican or Abid or Portuguese or something else. Hashem selected me to be a Yehud, to be part of His master plan. And the way how we are going to be part of that plan is to understand that it's a privilege, it's a beracha, it's something that people will give anything to be in our shoes. And we have it and we don't appreciate it enough. We don't. Because if we really appreciate it, we could become somebody that, like Rav Chaim, to see things that the human eye, the naked eye can't see. To guide people, to help people. To understand that life has much more value than the steak you're going to eat. Or anything else we're going to do. Life has so much, it's so valuable. We could do so much. We really could do so much. We're so special. That's what we have to take. And take that message and understand that during these days is the opportunity which the shefa, the funnel of Kedusha is open. It's easier to change the midot now than any other time in the year. And now is the easiest time. Never easy. Never easy. But easier, yeah, because it's dedicated time. And Lag BaOmer is a time that Hashem says, okay, you modeh, I'm going to give you everything. That's what everybody goes. No such thing. Where did you ever hear of tens of thousands of people go to the Me'arav and Shom Ben Yochai? You go to Miran. Because we never merited to go. Inshallah, one year I'll have the zechut to go.
Rabbi Malka, this is his first year there.
Who's that?
Rabbi Malka.
Oh, wow.
He went with the Lord.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
I was in the Yam Melech, then I got burnt from the But I usually go. I have to go for the Eretz, so I know it's too long to go to Lag BaOmer. Inshallah, 1 year. But Lag BaOmer is a time that, again, whatever happened then, we don't commemorate. Those same shefa, that same, we're living through time again. It's opened for us. The man came that day. Am Yisrael came out. That's when we were given the man to eat. When Shom Ben Yochai left the Me'arav, wasn't Lag BaOmer. The time that the Zohar was written in Lag BaOmer. All these things indicate that this is the power of the day. That's Mitzvah Shabbat. Inshallah, we should all be zocher, with each one of us, to have that self-confidence, to feel, yes, I'm special. Not in the ga'ava way, but if you're not going to have self-respect, no one's going to give it to you. To understand that Baruch Hashem, Hashem has a massive plan for me. Every one of us, Hashem has a massive plan for us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Right? We won't be gone. Hashem didn't need us. If we are here as Yehudim, that means HaKadosh Baruch Hu empowered me. And I got to take my good characteristics that I have. I got to take my talents that I have, and I got to utilize it. I got to elevate it. I got to become a better person to serve my family, to help my community, to be able to help on myself. That's our job. That's how we have to feel about ourselves. Feel proud, feel happy, because there's a lot to be happy about. Inshallah, Hashem should give us the strength to see that in ourselves, to utilize the opportunities, and to be successful, to be really servants of Borei Olam, to be community people, to be able to be givers always, not to be receivers, but to be givers. Always to give of our talent, to make ourselves better, to make our family better, and to make our self better.